Here's a list of 15-ish things that I absolutely love about my Toyota Sienna minivan. Number 1 is the fact that it's an all-wheel drive minivan, which means that it could drive absolutely anywhere and not ever get stuck or have wheel spin. There's been times where I've been towing cars and actually had to drive up on here off-road when it's been a little wet just to tow something out of the garage, and it hasn't slipped at all. So it is incredibly helpful and makes me feel like I could honestly drive anywhere. Number 2 is the fact that the sound adjusts with your speed. The faster you go, the more that the sound increases. And this is something that is done automatically and doesn't have to be manually adjusted. So when I get on the freeway, I don't have to turn the volume up, and when I get back in town and slow down, I don't have to turn the volume down because the van automatically does that for me. Number 3 is the fact that the seats have seat heaters. Now, this is my favorite feature pretty much in any car aside from maybe a rear view camera, and it's that small little thing that makes it so it's so much more comfortable to drive. And honestly, this is peak luxury right here if you could have seated heats. You know what I mean. But having that feature is so incredibly helpful and useful and just makes my life so much easier and more comfortable when I drive. Number 4 is the fact that this car can seat 7 people, which is incredibly useful. Now, I don't use it very often, but nonetheless, to be able to have that ability to fit in that many people makes it incredibly useful for times when I want to hang out with more people and we need to go somewhere, and I can just throw everyone in the back of the van without having to worry about splitting up rides. It just makes life a whole lot easier and a whole lot more convenient for times that I'm not using this van for purposes of just driving around town. To follow it up, point number 5 is the fact that there is so much space in the back. These seats will fold out and give me a whole bunch of extra space in addition, and those middle seats will fold up and forward, which means that I can fit just about anything inside this car, from front bumpers to any other car part that I might possibly need for another car, because we all know nothing is fitting in the back of those two sports cars, but I could do it all in a minivan. Number 6 is the fact that the headlights heights are adjustable. Now, with the switch inside, I can adjust the headlights on how high the beam shows, which really isn't a whole lot of a convenience, but it's one of those cool features that I never knew was actually a thing, but it's really cool to be able to adjust that. All I have to do is adjust this switch up or down, and it determines just how high the headlight beam actually shines. Number 8 is the volume button on the steering wheel. Now, it's something that I never ever thought would be something that I would enjoy that much or would be that much of a convenience, but in a similar fashion to the seat heaters, they're just so incredibly nice to have that button just right there, because I use this car as a daily driver more than anything, and so be able to have it for the comfort of enjoying the sound and music and anything that I'm playing, just to be able to adjust that on the steering wheel makes it so nice and just so much easier than having to reach over. I mean, it takes no effort to reach over and adjust the volume button, but nonetheless, it's even easier just to have my thumb right here and bump the volume up or down. Number 8, to probably no one's surprise, is the fact that there's a rear view camera in this car, and it is right here. As soon as you put it in reverse, obviously there's a picture that shows up and shows what's behind you, but the convenience of having this is so incredibly high. It makes it so my life is so much easier when trying to back out, almost to the point that it's maybe possibly detrimental, where I'm starting to not even look behind me sometimes when I'm in my driveway backing out. But nonetheless, that just shows how fancy and how nice this camera is, and so convenient to making my life that much easier when driving this car. Number 10 is the fact that this van has cruise control. Now, cruise control is so incredibly useful when I'm cruising on freeways or even on longer roads or highways around town. It just makes my life that much easier. I love the fact that I can just hit a button and the car essentially just drives for me, and I don't have to adjust to anyone else on the road. In addition to that, this van also has proximity cruise control, which means that it could judge based on the speed of the car in front of me, so I don't actually have to worry about just setting my consistent speed and then stopping it if a car comes in front of me and slows down. It will adjust for that car, and it makes my life so much easier when just cruising on freeways, because of course I'm going to use this car for a longer trip than maybe I'd use one of these other sports cars, because it's just so much more convenient and comfortable in this van anyway. Number 11 is the fact that the heaters work on this van. Now, this isn't something that is a feature that you'd really honestly think of too much, but so many of my other project cars don't have heaters that work. That one actually don't drive as much because I've mentioned before, the heaters don't really work, so I can't defog the windows, so it just makes it inconvenient. Even my old Miata had issues with the heaters, but this one has zero issues whatsoever with the heaters or the AC, so it makes it an absolute pleasure to drive. I could just get in, turn it on, heat it up, and it's amazing. It's so comfortable. Yes, I know it's something that is a feature that most people would never consider as something that is something that sets a car apart, but nonetheless, for someone who drives old cars that break down a lot, just to have this one have that small creature comfort, again, is amazing. Number 12 is the fact that this van is actually decently fast for a minivan. Now, is it fast by any standard of the world? Oh, absolutely not. This car's probably, I mean, it is slow, let's be real. All that being said, it is no slouch when trying to get onto freeways or highways or anything of that resort. It just gets up and goes like nobody's business, and well, honestly, is so convenient, especially with the fact that it is, well, a bigger minivan. I've driven other minivans and they can kind of get up and go a little bit, but this one just is an absolute breeze. You put your foot down and this thing takes right off. I think it has around 260 to 280 horsepower, which really is not too bad, all things considered, and it has the torque to match, so it is more the fact that the van isn't slow or sluggish than it is the fan actually being fast. So another small feature, but very convenient, especially on a daily driver. Number 13 is the ram bar that's on the front. It completes the look so much. In addition to that, it's nice to know that I could accidentally bump something with the front, and it's really, well, it's going to do zero damage whatsoever because the ram bar is here. Probably one of the coolest additions to the car that I have, at least for right now, and it absolutely not only completes the look, but as I mentioned, it's just such a convenience. But I mean, look at this thing. That ram bar absolutely makes it look so much better than just the lift kit alone. Number 14 is the lift kit itself. having a 3.5-inch lift plus lifts on the tires being bigger itself just makes this car feel like it can go anywhere, in addition to the all-wheel drive factor. It was one of those mods that I thought way back in the day would be really funny to do on a minivan, but now that I've actually done it, oh my goodness, the convenience is great. It's something that I'd do on honestly any minivan if I could, because it just makes the car that much more fun to drive. Not only does it look cool, but it feels great inside, because again, you don't ever worry about any bumps or anything, because any off-road that you encounter on a normal driving basis, like whether it be a gravel road or something along those lines, or if you even need to park the car off-road to make more space for someone else, I feel like this car can handle it with no issues whatsoever, and it is so nice. Number 15 is the fact that this van is actually really quiet. For someone who drives a bunch of sports cars that all have loud exhaust, having something that's quiet is a nice change of pace. As comparison, my Supra in the background there just makes so much noise that it can become a little annoying to drive, especially just around town, but this is just incredibly easy for when it's a car that I want to hop in and go with. When I'm not looking necessarily for the excitement of a sports car or anything along those lines, I can just hop in and go. It's quiet, it's easy, it makes my life that much easier when I'm really not in the mood for a loud exhaust, which is actually not very often, but nonetheless, it's nice for every now and then. And number 16 is the fact that it's an automatic. Yes, this is kind of heresy in comparison to the sports car world, but nonetheless, again, daily driver, this thing is so stinking convenient. It just makes life that much easier. That paired with the reliability make this car just the absolute easiest daily driver car in the entire world. Shine Armor once again helped me out cleaning up my brother's old Mustang to get ready to sell. After I gave him his V8, his V6 was sitting around and it just really needed to go, honestly. It had no more use, we got our fun out of it, but it's time to go. But the interior needed a lot of work, and helping us clean that up was Shine Armor once again with their all-purpose interior cleaner. It has nice anti-static and sun-blocking features that's used for vinyl, leather, and all plastics, and it really helped me clean up this car to get it ready to go. Now check out the link down below and use code PhilSuper at checkout. And those are roughly 15 things that I absolutely love about my lifted all-wheel drive minivan. If you guys have anything else that you like about this minivan, let me know down in the comments below, and let me know what car you guys want me to see do next. Alright, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Please consider subscribing. Adios.